analysis. Emphasis on the anal because you're getting right up the poop chute when you invest in crypto. All right, so let's look at our gains, okay? Say we're looking for about a 6,000% right here. Okay, there's your gains. What we're gonna do, okay? We're gonna go ahead and erase them, okay? Let's talk about BTC, okay? Bitcoin, okay? Bitcoin, but it should really stand for big trash coin because every time this coin takes a huge shit, we're shitting down with it, getting down now. Yeah, here's what we want the market to do, but here's what the market is actually doing. It's going like this: shit it down, shit it down, shit it down, shit it down, shit it down. Crypto is a musical based on a loving family that now has to wear clothes from 30 years ago and drive around in a car with no roof on it. It would be called shitty, shitty, bang, 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 shitty, bang, shitty, bang, bang, shitty, shitty, bang, shitty, shitty. I think I give a about the other day. I got a job selling couches. I did one day and I quit.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Bitcoin is actually pushing down again. We didn't even get up to the $27,000 level. You can see we are actually attempting to dump again as I'm making this video right now. But, you know, as we've been saying, the $30,000 area was expected to be resistance because it was our previous support for over a year and a half, and we did anticipate retesting the $25,300 Terra Luna crash. So technically, everything that we expected to happen is happening, but yet people are getting really bearish right now. Why is that? Well, there are two things that are unfortunately going against us. We do have right here the fact that we had the S&P actually breaking above this downward sloping trend. And you can see there was this intersection of the heart line. We were above it. We opened above it this morning, and now currently we have fallen back below it. And at the same time, we're actually seeing the dollar pumping above its downwards parallel trend. You can see every time it's come above this, it's wicked down, it's pulled down. Currently right now, yes, we do still have a few days until the end of this week, so anything can happen. But as you can see right here, it is in fact pushing above that level. So it is kind of scaring some people that maybe if the dollar starts to strengthen and stocks start to fall, will Bitcoin continue? And then that does beg the question, was this all just a giant bull trap? Well, you guys know how I feel about it, but could we be wrong? Is it possible that maybe we are going to go to some of these lower levels and 20K is not going to be our support? Well, let me just explain to you right now why I believe the bears may potentially have a small victory ahead. However, I don't believe it's anything for them to gloat about. Now, again, everyone was bearish when we were down at 15.5. We came up all the way to 30, and that's when we said to be a little bit cautious. Yes, what's happening now is we're starting to get back into that volatility, right? The markets were so boring for 2 months. People got very desensitized, and now we're seeing that volatility again. And remember, we do have prices fall the same way we have prices pump, right? But we're paying attention to some of these key levels. So I do want to talk about that today, just refresh your brain in case you forgot. And then, of course, there is that big conspiracy as to whether or not BlackRock is intentionally manipulating the Bitcoin price so that they can buy it cheaper. Now, I've already spoken about that, and I've given my opinion about that. Really wouldn't make a lot of sense if they were going to be, scooping up. They would have done that earlier, right? They would have done that ahead of time, not dump the price as soon as the announcement comes out. So we're going to talk about all that, but there may actually be an even bigger conspiracy at hand. So all of that we're talking about today, and I'm going to tell you why I'm not really that nervous, why I'm not really panicking. So stick around to the end if you are interested. I hope you will enjoy this. As you can see right here, yes, we are pushing down, but let's dive in. Let's have a look. And if you are not subscribed, well, definitely consider it because I have a feeling things are about to get pretty exciting, guys. We did have that volatility, and I think we're going to be getting a lot more. So again, we did have this chart, which isn't loading right now for some reason. As I've been saying, there we go. Trading View is just really messed up lately, guys. I don't know what's up with it. I know people use Crypto Watch. I like TradingView. But you can see right here, obviously I'm not going to be a broken record. Boom, 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 support, resistance, support again, and that. Now, the thing that we have the issue, we knew that we were going to have this test. Nothing of surprise. Still, had you actually, put in that long, you should still be up 3% if you're still holding it. Just, don't hold it back down to zero if you are. Make sure you're taking profits, of course. But we have a few things that are sort of some overhead issues that we need to overcome for the bulls to sort of, have an opportunity to get back on track. So we have this right here around 27,300, which is our 200 daily moving average. Now, what's crazy is the 200 EMA is also coinciding with that, as well as coinciding with the 200 weekly sitting at around 27,500. You could see we didn't even get up to that level, right? So there's going to be a lot of overhead resistance right around that $27,500 level. So does that mean that we do need to retest these lower levels? Well, we do have some support at 23.8 on the 50. And again, you know, I know we talk about the guppy a lot, but having a look again about the similarities between this market right here and what we're experiencing right here. Now, look, anything can happen. We saw a lot of first times for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin had never done this before. It never fell below this level. It's never done this. It's never done that. And then all of a sudden, the COVID, crash, we printed all the money. And then what did the Fed do? They came out, they started raising rates, and all of a sudden, Bitcoin was in an environment it had never really been in before, right? It was birthed out of the 2008 financial crisis. So now it's, we have this beast, but we're throwing it in a completely different location. So will Bitcoin play out the same way? The thing that I will say is that at the tail end of every bear market, we have very similar bands on these EMAs, and we generally tend to get the dark blue, right? And then we get our red bands. And then once we go back into the neutral, we never, ever, ever go back to red again. It doesn't matter when you take this historically. This has actually never happened for Bitcoin. I know, we just spoke about that. So you can see right here that we are currently in the area of the bear market where we would be moving back into the neutral, into this lighter teal. Now, we know how close this is, right? We're already having the inversion right here. And we know that it only will take literally $1,000 to maybe $2,000 move to the upside to flip us back into that teal area, right? And generally speaking, once you get that weekly close, that's pretty much it, right? Bear market's over. So the way that I'm looking at it right now is, looking statistically at the way that Bitcoin tends to behave, maybe it is different this time. It is different this time. For example, we never tend to fall below the EMA band for longer than really just, sort of intermonthly. We have these little dips. We did fall down for 2 months right here, but you can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months in which we were below it, and now we're currently hanging out inside of it. So, we didn't do that really too much during this, except when we came down into this area right here, which was the mid-cycle rally, which is what some people are saying that we're doing right here. So yes, I'm not going to sit here and say that things are exactly the same, that, we can't expect there to maybe be a little bit of deviation. Maybe the environment is a little bit different. But again, history, you know the drill, right? It doesn't repeat, it often rhymes. And let's just be real. Yes, things are different. But look at the tools that the Fed has. It's not like the tools that they have today are different than the tools that they had back then. It's not like fear and greed changes if you're in the 30s, 1930s, or if you're in the modern times, right? It is the same cyclical cycle over and over again. And I've just seen it too many times, and I don't want you guys to be fooled. You could see we have this 50 on the weekly, which when we're above it, we tend to stay above it for a very long time. And when we're below it, we tend to stay below it for a very long time. But do remember that bear markets typically last only about 25% of the time that you have the ultimate bull run, right? It's just historically speaking. So if we actually zoom into what we're looking at right here, we are in fact above this. We did break above it. And look, you can even see it acting as resistance right here. And once we got through it, look at that candle, right? Boom, right there. So we came all the way up and we had a perfect retest on the 0.38, right? So obviously people are saying we need to go down to the 0.618. Well, that would bring us to around 21,700, which means we'd also have to go down the 0.5, which is sitting at around 23, and we would also have to fall below this moving average, which tends to support us, right? And keep in mind, this moving average is starting to curve up. It's not like this is some fluke where it's down and we came up. No, it is starting to curve up, even though Bitcoin has continued to go sideways. So again, if you're the ultimate bear, which by the way, even if you're not a bear, if you are looking for accumulating, if you were watching a lot of these other channels, these other gurus, what is this? Hold on. Somebody's trying to contact me. I should have turned my phone off. But if you have been watching some of these other channels, or, they were bearish from the bottom, and we were saying that, as soon as you're hitting this blue zone up here, you tend to have a little bit of resistance, right? It's just what happens. It's happened every single time in the past. Back here, look at how long we stayed under it. This one right here. I mean, this literally from November 15th all the way until May of 2016. So November of 2015 to May of 2016, right? So just because that's happening again right now, it's not a big deal. You want these areas of interest, right? You want to have this resistance acting as resistance because it was support. But once we flip it, right? That's the moment I'm waiting for. I'm looking at anything at this point. Anything below 30K is a massive opportunity right now. So I know if you've been sticking it out for a year, maybe you bought up here, right? Possibly. But I did, if you guys are over on X, Twitter, I did mention that officially as of yesterday, if you had been dollar cost averaging Bitcoin since the top every single day, you would actually be break even right now. Now I know that's nothing to brag about, but it's interesting. If you had been buying the top, every day, you would actually be even right now, which is crazy. So think about having all of that Bitcoin accumulated and knowing where Bitcoin is potentially heading. Now, like Murad pointed out, could we have a potential pullback still? Well, he actually mentioned there is this very interesting relationship between USDT, USDC total, stable coins, and Bitcoin, and it has been following this channel. Now, eventually, will this correlation break? Yes, eventually, all correlations, all models break at some point. But, I mean, you could see he's got this thing all the way back to January of 2019, and this channel has held. And you can see that it's very inverse when we get to the top of this channel. That's usually when we're at the lowest. And then we come down here, and then we usually find our bottom, and we flip, right? So he's saying that we could potentially see right here, we could pull back up to the top of this channel. So what does that say? Well, if people are hopping into stables, it means that they're afraid of volatility to the downside for Bitcoin. So they're sitting in stable coins, right? So that is just something to consider. But again, I don't see this as anything lasting for longer than, maybe a month or two, if that. And I think any dip that we get, especially on this trend right here, would be an opportunity. So for me, the low targets, if you're going to go down to these levels, is really no lower than about the 23 area, because at that point you're breaking, this trend, and then you're really seriously starting to put in some lower lows on the smaller time frames. But overall, again, we have a CME futures gap up around 27.5, which I wouldn't be surprised if we did tap that, and then that's going to be that resistance. So once you're starting to form a potential downtrend, you want to sort of short the tops, right, until you break through it. So if you were looking for an area to short, the first area would be 27.45. The next would be 28.65. So what you would do is you would have sort of a bounce up to that level, and then maybe short it back down to the 25.3, if you want. But again, I think people calling for 15 are crazy, because look at the amount of support, look at the fact that we had the minor capitulation, we had the buy signal, and look at this amount of interest down here at 20,000. Not only is it the psychological top of 2017, but there is massive, massive, massive volume at that level. In fact, it's the most volume at any level below the 30, actually really below really any of these levels. Let me see if I actually back it out. Does it change if I back it out to here? Not really. No. It's still basically the same. It's a little lower, 19,340. So, again, just look at this. Very simple. It's very, very simple. This is what we expected. This right here was our support. We had this support from December 28th of 2020 all the way until we lost it of June 6th of 2022. Okay? That's a very, very long, very elaborate sort of bounce, right? You could see that. That's crazy. Now, if we look over here, that's where we're having that resistance. And keep in mind, you can see above me, there's still a lot of interest in this area. But, struggling through this, after you break above 40,000, it's pretty much a moonshot to 47. And I had this poll over on YouTube. Now, if you don't have these turned on, you have to go into your settings, make sure that you turn on the bell notifications, and you also turn on post notifications. You have to do that in your settings, or else you're not going to get all my updates. And if you missed this, you should definitely follow me over on Twitter. It's at the Crypto Zombie. But again, we had a vote going, and 2,800 people, 56%, think we're going to go to 30K before we're going to go to 20K. But someone who thinks we're not going below 20K is Arthur Hayes, the former CEO of BitMEX. Now, he is an OG in the space. He's been around for a very, very, very long time, and he says that Bitcoin is not going to fall below 20,000. What he could see is maybe we have some choppy consolidation, freaking people out, maybe boring people out again around the $25,000 area. But he says that the Fed implemented the policies of the 1980s regarding inflation, but he pointed out that the economic and monetary conditions in USA today are quite different. So a lot of people are saying, oh, look what happened at this point, look what happened at that point. But he says economic they're different. Anyone who thinks the Fed can use the same tactics and achieve the same results as in 1980 would be wrong. In short, tactics that work in the good conditions of the past will not be successful in today's tough, bumpy, and competitive times. He also added that the Fed will eventually have to print a large amount of money. We know it's coming. We know it's coming. There's no way out of it. As the Fed continues with its current policy, the banking system will be shaken and the value of Bitcoin will strengthen. One of Bitcoin's value propositions is that it is an antidote to the corrupt and parasitic fiat banking system. As a result, the current policy of the Fed will play an important role in triggering the next crypto rally. We also have Dan Morehead, the influential founder of crypto investment company Pantera Capital, calling what recently happened in court with the decision of the XRP legal victory as a positive black swan event, right? So black swans are things that are just totally unexpected, unpredictable. Now, granted, is this a total black swan? I don't know. Positive black swan, because I think we knew that the outcome was coming and there was a lot of positivity building up around the case. But they talk about how this could actually push Bitcoin up to 150,000, around 3 trillion market cap. Now, why is that going to happen? Well, everyone ignores black swans until one happens. Then everyone wants to talk about it, and then they're like, well, what's the next shoe to drop? But he says, I would say the biggest surprise is that we already had all of these massive shoes drop last year, right? I mean, how much more pain do you want the markets to go through? BlockFi, Celsius, FTX, Voyager, Three Arrows Capital, the Fed raising rates. I mean, the terrible real situations you can imagine. And yet Bitcoin currently, at the time of making this video, is still sitting higher than its last cycle high. Not its current cycle high, but its last cycle high, right? So the next halving is sometime in April. Most Bitcoins are pretty much in circulation. So they say if history repeats, we could see Bitcoin rise to around $148,000. Now, talking about the conspiracy of the SEC, delays decision on ARK Invest spot Bitcoin ETF, calls for public input, 8-week delay for BlackRock to manipulate the markets. 29K should break soon, cheap sats for holders and institutional investors. Now, this is from Seni, and they were correct. This actually came out before the crash, so congratulations on calling that out. But is it truly a conspiracy? Now, I said currently that it really wouldn't make sense for BlackRock to announce this awesome news that we're going to go for an ETF. They know that that's pumping the price, and now what, they're going to try to manipulate it? Possibly, but hear me out here. They say a sudden and substantial drop in Bitcoin's value could actually undermine the overall credibility of the cryptocurrency market, which is something that BlackRock wants to avoid, right? The priority of maintaining the market's legitimacy might outweigh any immediate gains, resulting in forming a low Bitcoin price. So, again, they say that the concept of them doing this makes sense, but BlackRock has actually built a reputation, right? They don't want to announce that they're going to do something, and then all of a sudden the market just goes haywire and basically freaks everybody out. You want to keep that investor confidence. So a massive price drop, even if it were through manipulation, even if they were trying to accumulate, sure, sounds good on the surface, but considering the fact that they haven't actually been approved yet, it would really look bad. So they're saying that their interest lies in launching the ETF potentially, and here's the kicker, during a period of positive sentiment where investors feel confident about the potential for the future gains. So if we were going to talk about any conspiracies, here's a conspiracy right here actually. But if you were really going to talk about it, maybe if they're in bed with the SEC, or more than they're just in bed, they control the SEC, let's just be honest, they have a lot of power, these guys. Maybe what they're doing is actually waiting until we do have a massive surge and everybody's excited, and then they're going to launch it, right? It's a possibility. There's also a darker side, tinfoil hat time from Boomstick44. Sell government Bitcoin to Coinbase to suppress the price. Get Binance to defend BNB by selling their Bitcoin. Drain Binance's cheap Bitcoin and sell it to Coinbase. Binance goes broke and Coinbase has the majority of Bitcoin exchange Bitcoin. Then we approve the ETF, price skyrockets, tax Coinbase's profits, And then 6102 Coinbase's Bitcoin, which now holds the government dump plus. Well, what is Executive Order 6102? It was signed in 1933 by U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, forbidding the hoarding of gold coins, gold bullion, and gold certificates within the continental United States. The executive order was made under the authority, yada, 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 the limitation, yada, yada, yada. But it was eventually clearly, repealed. They took it away. But yeah, so is that what they're trying to do? I don't know, guys. I don't know. I mean, physical gold and Bitcoin's a little bit different, right? Physical gold, you could like kick down my door and confiscate it, right? Bitcoin, where is the Bitcoin? Where is it? It's not on a hard drive, right? It's not in, I mean, if you have it properly stored on the blockchain, it's technically not anywhere, right? So I don't know, but I just figured we'd have some fun with that. But one thing to just consider, okay? Just consider this right now. If you still think that we're not early, and you really truly believe that there are no opportunities right now and that Bitcoin is overpriced or whatever it is, total market cap of crypto, 1.11 trillion. Total market cap for NVIDIA, 1.16 trillion. So NVIDIA, the chip company, has a larger market cap than all of the cryptocurrencies combined. Let that sink in. If you don't think we're early, we are. But I will say this. That window is closing. All right. We're obviously not like the earliest. I didn't buy Bitcoin at 10, 20, 100, 500. I mean, I bought my first Bitcoin at, it was like 2,200 and change, right? So I didn't do bad, clearly. But, I wasn't the earliest, right? But I believe that we're still early when you consider, okay? 30,000 might seem high, but we're not even at 30,000. We're at 26. And I mean, hey, people are saying we can go down to 20. Why that would be freaking anybody out right now, I don't know. I've always taken these opportunities, and anyone who's watched the cryptocurrency space for a while, and especially has been subscribed to my channel, knows that we get excited on the dips. I get very excited because once they're gone, they're gone. And sometimes they never come back. You don't want to be sitting on the sideline scared. Now, I'm not saying go all in, not financial advice. It's always smart to keep some kind of dry powder, some kind of stable coins, something, right? You don't want to just totally miss out. Dollar cost average is a great strategy. But if you've been waiting all this time and still haven't even got any kind of access, or you don't have any exposure, I don't know, guys. I mean, you could see right here even, there was like, I don't even know how many, I don't even know what this is, $150 million, 1,600, 950, like a lot of Bitcoin, like 6,000 or something Bitcoin recently got removed in just a 5-minute window from Binance, right? This happened just yesterday. So is this because of the rumors, the FUD about Binance? Sure, that makes a lot of sense. But I also think that people are just realizing that now is a good time to actually pull it off, set it, forget it. If you're day trading, that's one thing. But if you're looking to build a hodl position, I think now's the time. Now, of course, nothing's perfect. We still have issues. We still have regulatory uncertainty in the US. Unfortunately, Bitstamp has halted their staking services. But with every bit of bad news, there's always a bit of good news. And I will just end on the fact that Shopify has enabled USDC payments via Solana Pay integration. So it supports Web3 commerce features like cross-border transactions and NFT loyalty schemes through its integration with Solana Pal. So again, it's funny how, the media, they have their agenda, they have their prerogatives, right? And they spew whatever they want. But, just for example, if you go over on X right now, the Tucker Carlson Donald Trump interview, regardless of whether or not you like either of them, that's not the point. The point is free speech and media, 200 million views that got in about a day, okay? I just feel like the mainstream media is losing its power, it's losing its ability, and I think that as people, as the internet has brought us all closer together, I think that it only makes the most sense to move into the next world of digital payments, which is Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, NFTs, blockchain, all that stuff. All the crazy stuff we've been talking about. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Again, make sure you get your freaking coins off exchanges. Get them in a wallet like a Ledger. I don't truthfully think Ledger is a bad company. I think that FUD was overblown personally. But if you really are that concerned, get an Engrave. A little more pricey, but it's definitely a lot safer. There is 10% off below. And also, if you guys want to go to the Bitcoin Amsterdam, they have a lot of people speak. They have Edward Snowden, Adam Beck is speaking, Balaji's going to be there. Actually, a lot of interesting people gonna be at this. So yeah, if you're interested, check it out, guys. That will be below in the description. But that's it for me. And if you do want to learn how to trade, like I said, guys, the time is now. The time is now, because once we're in the zone, it's just going to be rapid fire. So make sure you watch these tutorials, and make sure you check out the links below in the description to get up to 56,000 in bonuses. That's it for me, guys. Follow me on X, Twitter. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.